I suppose it's fair to accuse me of being a busybody for commenting on American politics as a Nigerian. As a citizen of one of the most corrupt nations on earth and the poverty capital of the world, I should have enough worries to focus on instead of being concerned with what's happening thousands of kilometers away in America. But it isn't as simple as that. The thing is, you can't run away from American politics, just like you can't escape American influence in the media, entertainment, and sports wherever you go in the world. Growing up, political pundits and social commentators would often make reference to America as a counterexample to the dysfunctionality in the Nigerian system. Sometimes they interchanged America with quote unquote Senna climb during these impassioned public discourses. Naturally, I grew up having admiration for American culture and politics because of this. America became the ideal a dysfunctional country like Nigeria should look up to, or so I thought. Here in Nigeria, our politics is at prehistoric evolution. As I wrote elsewhere, Nigerians overwhelmingly vote along ethnic and religious lines. Elections in Nigeria are rigged. Voters are intimidated to vote for a particular party or candidate, and politicians engage in what is called stomach infrastructure, which means the gifting of food items to a hungry and impoverished public in anticipated exchange for their vote. Debates don't win elections in Nigeria. For instance, former President Muhammadu Buhari did not attend any debates the two times he was elected. Current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has followed in his footsteps. Instead of well-articulated campaign promises, he gave us gaffes and word salad during his campaign last year. He conveniently avoided any interviews and debates that would expose his senility and frailty. But those who debated and attended countless interviews and town hall meetings lost. As much as politicians manipulate the electoral process with money and intimidation, the voting public is equally guilty of primordial sentiment. So, I started having a keen interest in American politics in 2019. I very quickly realized how surprisingly similar American politics and Nigerian politics are when I saw the same primordial groupthink that undergirds our politics and politicking play out in America. I couldn't reconcile the idea of America being the center climb I was led to believe with the irrational loyalty to party and ideology among Republicans and Democrats. It is not lost on me the division Trump's emergence in 2016 caused in America. He became the unprecedented and unpresidential president. Infamous for saying absurd things and attacking the media for fake news, he turned American presidency into a farce. He doesn't filter his words. He is boisterous, bellicose, and a master at expletives. For instance, after then Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari visited him at the White House, he reportedly called him lifeless. His foibles gave the media fodder to fearmonger about him in their reportage. For every half-truth and quote-unquote fake news uncovered about him, the media inadvertently turned him into a hero. His base stood behind him no matter what the facts say. The Democrats were just as guilty of this irrationality as Trump's base. They demonized the MAGA movement as fascist, and of course, Trump was demonized as a neo-Hitler. It got worse to the point that hoisting the American flag meant you were a far-right extremist. I guess you can describe American politics as a horseshoe of irrationality from the left to the right. This irrational groupthink has set the free world, some civilizations, back into Obesian prehistory. In 2024, the last thing we should be saying in America is an assassination attempt on a former president. As of the time of writing this, the details about the shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks, are still sketchy. While it looks like he acted on his own volition, the very fact that someone thought of assassinating the former president is a sad commentary on what has become of America, the Senate line. This is a kind of thing that may not surprise you if it happened in a third world. Owing to its influence in global politics, a backward America sets a dangerous example for the rest of the world. Whatever America does, the world copies. For instance, the rise of right-wing nationalism in America with the emergence of Donald Trump has metastasized to some countries in Europe, South America, and Central America. America hasn't just exported its politics, it has exported its cultural war issues to the rest of the world, whether it's Black Lives Matter or Pride Month. With this assassination attempt on Trump, America hasn't only lost its moral high ground to lecture developing nations in the world on how to defend democracy, it may be setting a dark trend for the rest of the world. It has given autocrats cheap victory. If America accuses Putin of assassinating opposition figures like Alexei Navalny, Putin can always use this assassination attempt on Trump as a smart retort. I never thought I'd see the day something like this would happen in America. I never thought the many things that I've seen over the past few years would happen in America. I never thought a man in his twilight years would be obstinate in contesting for his second term despite his many gaffes and falls, even when most Americans and his party members don't want him to recontest. This is something you typically see in Africa, whether it's Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has been caught on tape licking the microphone, or it's Paul Biya of Cameroon, farting and displaying signs of memory loss during a US Africa summit sometime last year, or it's Salva Kiir of South Sudan peeing on himself. By the way, 6 journalists were arrested over the viral clip of Salva Kiir peeing on himself. I never thought I'd see the day anyone would oath sway on a political party in America the way Donald Trump has commanded court-like fealty from Republicans. He has been apotheosized into a messiah, and no matter what he has been accused of, no matter what the facts are, the knee-jerk reaction from his base is to denounce it as part of the machination of the deep state. Again, you find this kind of politics in Africa. We call it godfatherism in Nigeria. For a democracy barely hanging on a thread, the assassination attempt on Trump will further cause a tectonic divide. To his base, it confirms every suspicion about the so-called deep state. To them, the only logical conclusion to every controversy Trump has been embroiled in, from Russiagate to his 2 impeachments to his ongoing court cases, is that the powers that be would take him out by any means necessary. Well, Thomas Crooks, regardless of what the facts show in the coming days and weeks, has emboldened Trump supporters in their conspiracy theories. I don't see how American democracy can survive this division. It is sad that civility and decency are a thing of the past when one thinks of American politics. The lust for power at all cost, the blind loyalty of party members, the obstinacy of senile men, and the deification of political godfathers are all too familiar features of a typical African democracy, which now characterize American politics. The bastion of democracy, the climb that once served as the ideal for the rest of the world, has become a slapstick comedy. We like to say in Nigeria that politics shouldn't be a do or die affair. Perhaps this time, America should learn an aphorism from Nigeria.